Howdy folks, just wanted to take a minute here and show the CB setups in my rigs, how I have them set up in my pickups. Don't see a whole lot of information out there on good places and good ways to hook these up in a pickup, so I figured I'd take a minute and show you guys. First off, we'll show the cable here. I like the Wilson with the two-piece end on it. Just makes it a little easier to try and route the cable instead of routing this big connector. You can just route this little guy. Then when you get it up to the radio, thread that on there and you get yourself a complete cable. So in the floor here, I have the electronic shift on the fly transfer case, so I don't have a stick here to pull. So I got this little plastic, but I took and cut a groove in it. If I get it off here, cut a groove in it so that the cables fit right in there, and then they seal right in against this little sealing deer underneath here. And then I routed my wires right underneath the carpet, right behind my shifter, and when I get my console back together, I'll show you how I have it mounted right on the other side there. Alright, now with everything hooked up and installed again, got the CB here. I got a 29 Classic Cobra, and just run the cables right underneath this front piece of trim here, right underneath, and then when you put a floor mat in there, the floor mat goes right up against here and hides most of those cables. And then I just put my microphone in that little cubby hole right there. Works pretty good. You can see the radio, you can see the display, speaker faces outward. Haven't found a good place to put an external in this truck yet. I do like running an external, but on this truck I did have a Wilson gumdrop mount right inside the bed right here. But then I started traveling a lot, and the soft cover was nice because I could put all my bags in the back and be able to keep them out of the weather. So I moved to a little wheel antenna on the roof mag mount, and actually just got done routing the cable for that. That's why I had everything torn apart. Just run the cable down the back of the cab, up underneath, up in like I had the other one ran, and then through. And I got about an extra foot or so of cable when I did that. So that's how I got the Dodge run. We'll go take a look at the Ford next. On the Ford here, we'll go ahead and start on the outside. So on this one I run, you can't really see it too well, it's a Wilson 5000, 62-inch whip on the top. Since this is a 17, it's an aluminum body, so no mag mount. So I did drill a hole in the top. It was a little unnerving drilling a hole in the roof of a $70,000 pickup. But I did it, and this thing is a reception monster. Underneath, let's see, I ran the cable inside. I had to pull the headliner down, all this trim out, pulled all this off, ran the cable down through here, and then underneath the carpet, and then up over here. So what I'll show next is where I put the radio and how I got it there. No good place in this truck for me that I liked to put a radio, so I ended up putting it inside my glove compartment. What I ended up doing is right here I drilled a hole. I can't remember how big it was, about 3/4 or so, to get the coax and the rest of my wires through. But I drilled a hole right here, and then inside my glove box I have my radio. I have it mounted in there a little bit of an angle, and then the wires, I got too much junk in here, but the wires come in right below the radio. And the reason why I have the radio on an angle is because the radio is actually too deep. If you put it completely upright, you wouldn't have enough room to get around the corner and hook your cables up on the back side. But at the little bit of an angle like this, you have enough room to hook your coax in the back as well as your power cable. And this little channel here is perfect to run my mic cord out. I have it right here in this little map pocket. It's easy to reach, it's out of the way, and for some odd reason, if I ever do need the radio to turn down the squelch or change the channel, I just pop my glove box and display, and everything's right here beside me. So that works great. And then I may or may not have an amp under my seat. I can neither confirm nor deny. However, if you had an amp under your seat, it fits perfect. I can't really show it too well, but all the electric motors and stuff like that are here. And you can fit it right here, back in there. You can maybe see the blue switches there. That may or may not be the switches for my amp, which may or may not be hooked up right now. And then what else is all the external? I have an external speaker back here as well. Need to put another screw in, but it works well because it's right here out of the way. Sometimes a person may kick it if they're sitting in the back, but I can hear well. It's out of the way. I didn't have to drill any excessive holes or anything like that to get it mounted in there. So that's my CB setup for both these rigs. Hope you found it useful. I had forgot to show some mounting locations on the 17 Ford here. First antenna I put on was right there on the side of the bed rail. Just a little mount like that. And a spring on there, 4-foot antenna. And then couldn't get a good SWR out of that for some reason. So I went with that bracket right there. And it just didn't seem to work for me. Seemed like there's a little bit too much flex in it. It's an aluminum bracket, but you can bolt a steel plate to it, so if you have a mag mount antenna, you can stick your mag mount on there. But I found it works great for backup lights or for lights to shine off the side of the truck. So just a couple options I pursued for mounting, but like I said, eventually went with the one right in the center of the roof. And if you do have to go undercover, like the garage or something like that, you just unscrew this antenna, and then it's got a little cap that you just thread on top of it to keep the end of your coax good. Hope you got something useful out of this.